Welcome to the UltraNurse Podcast. This is where we run long and work even longer. I'm your host, Brad, a flight nurse, paramedic, dad of 3, and a mid-of-the-pack ultra runner, just trying to figure this whole endurance thing out 1 mile at a time. This podcast is about running, especially running long, all while balancing work, family, and everything else that comes with real life. Probably the last time we talked has probably been doing shift change out of Medic 12 or 6 or whatever rig we were running out of.
Yeah, dude, it's I was thinking about it. I mean, like, shoot, it's probably been what, 12, 15 years? I mean,
yeah,
a long time.
I think, yeah. I was just thinking, because I got my 10-year anniversary at the U, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I still talk with a couple people from Medic, and I'm like, man, it's been like 14 years. So
yeah,
I don't miss it at all.
No, me neither. I still remember my last day there. It wasn't supposed to be my last day. I had gotten an offer from the Rockford Police Department, and I was working with, I think it was Bill Woolweber at the time, and I told him about the offer, and I told him, I was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to take it. And he's like, he pulled the ambulance over. It's like, you need to take that job. He's like, we're going to go to post 2 so you can just turn in your resignation letter effective immediately.
Yeah, that's great, dude. I could totally see Bill just doing that, dude. So sweet, man. What's new? What have you been up to? Give everybody a little background of who you are. So
my name's Luke Guyton. I'm based in the Quad Cities. I, in a former life, worked as a police officer, paramedic, firefighter for a combined 10 years. Got out of that in 2018 and kind of started pursuing my passion in health and fitness. Started my own gym. I also started 5 different gravel bike races. We've added some running events now as well. And then kind of my own personal fitness endeavors. I've been racing bicycles at some sort of capacity for, since I was 8 years old, and I'm going to be 36 this year. So a little bit about myself. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a beast on the bike, dude. I follow you on Strava, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even fathom.
Yeah. Been doing it a while. It's the same with like running though, you know, like I see some stuff that running guys do, and I'm just like, what? Like,
yeah.
Like
you got a little bit of FOMO last weekend. Yeah, a little bit from the Cocodona.
Yeah. I mean, every year I watch the Cocodona live stream, and I'm like, man, I feel like I'm in a vortex, like getting pulled in. It looks like a pretty epic experience, to say the least.
Dude, call me when you're at like Fort Tuthill, I think it is, at like 180. Call me and be like, Brad, this was a terrible idea. What did I do? Should have talked me out of it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, I mean, I think it would be, I definitely see the allure of it. It's especially that race in particular, just the different start finish location, and it's just essentially almost like a through hike in a way, in a really beautiful area of the country, and you're getting to see different like topography and just like going through different climates as you make your way north to Flagstaff. So I see why people would want to do it. But yeah, I think the idea of it's probably more fun than the process of doing it at the time anyway.
Yeah. So what would be the longest like bike ride, like event that you've done? Like,
so cycling's a little bit different than the ultra scene. You know, like the 100-mile ultras, I think, you know, probably about like the staple for people. Like, isn't it like sub 24 people to kind of try to go for? Like,
yeah, kind of give or take like what the event is, but you know, I mean, you know how it is. You can go ride a bike like, you know, in the central Iowa and like, but then you go out to Colorado and
Yeah,
you're paid. Yeah.
yeah.
So it kind of just all depends,
Varies a
but
little bit. Yeah. So the longest race I've done would be Leadville 100. It took me like 8 hours and 51 minutes. In the race I just did, I actually just had it from like an output standpoint. I had the biggest race I've ever done actually just this Saturday. So with cycling, most everyone has a power meter. So you're not going off a really heart rate at all. You're going off a power, which is measured, whether it's like in your cranks or somewhere on your bike, to keep it as simple as possible. And it's really precise, and it's measured in what's called watts. And those watts are quantified then total workload in kilojoules and TSS, which I'm sure you're familiar with TSS, right? Like from a
vaguely, just because of that's what the platform that my coach uses now.
Yep. Yeah, Training Peaks,
So,
I would bet.
yeah. Yep.
Yep. So that's like a kind of a Training Peaks specific, but it stands for training stress score. But the race I just did this weekend, I ended up with like over 6,000 kilojoules, which is over 6,000 calories burned. It was a little under 8 hours. 112 miles in like the Northwest Arkansas area, so super hilly. But heart rate averaged about 149. So the cycling side of things, the output, you're just burning a lot hotter. Your metabolic engine and rate is just like through the roof with it. Outputs through the roof. Cycling doesn't have as much of like that ultra scene. There's like some 300-mile races and some things around that nature, which would probably be more equivalent to a 100-mile run. But it's a bit more fringe. There's not as many of them to choose from.
Yeah, it's gonna be super like because I know you're gonna transition and do some of these ultra running events or whatever. Did you pick one out yet, or any of them out that you're gonna? May I ask you? Too early? Too early? Okay. But anyway, so I was sitting there pondering about it this past weekend, because I know we were shooting back messages back and forth on Instagram, and I'm like, well, you're kind of perfect for it, but the only thing that I could think of that might get you at first is what you're essentially just talking about, like your power output, because you are just a monster and you're used to that, just like that output on the bike. But like if you go out and do 100 and you're burning like that, I was like, man, that he's gonna have to kind of it's just gonna be a little bit of a learning experience, I think. But I mean, you got the perfect mindset for ultra running. It's gonna be great, and I'm glad you're coming to the dark side.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the pacing is gonna be a weird thing to kind of learn a little bit. But yeah, I mean, from like an aerobic engine standpoint, I have that pretty well dialed, but like the durability is another one, like going uphill would be great, but when it comes to going downhill, that's something that I'm gonna have to work on as well, of just not, blowing my quads, because it's a complete different muscle contraction than frankly what I'm used to doing. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I still just I would love to do a 200. I mean, I think that's something I kind of want to try to work up to.
That's going to be awesome. I have no desire to go over 100. I mean, I've done 101 before, but I have no desire to go. Every once in a while, like the past weekend, I'm like, I had it in my ultra sign up that, the Cocodona lottery. And then I'm like, nah, I'm good, man. I'm going to go do some runs out, and I'm going to do some mountain ones before I commit to anything like that gnarly. So yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that Leadville 100 biking, I got a buddy that's going out to do it this year, and he's super excited about it. And he's a pretty legit Ironman guy and 100 runner too. So, but yeah, he's super stoked for that.
Yeah, that was a fun event for sure, and it's just iconic with it being above 10,000 feet the whole time.
How did you do with that?
So I got the big buckle, and that was kind of my goal, is so for the biking side, sub 9 gets you the buckle. So got the buckle, but honestly, like from an output standpoint, this race I just did this last weekend was way harder than Leadville. Leadville, the way I describe it to people, is it's just a long endurance ride. You physically can't push as hard as you want to. So the altitude actually is like a governor on your pace. You're actually not able to work as hard as you want just because your oxygen demand's so high, and the amount of oxygen there is reduced. So it's like someone put a cap on what you can do. So it was a different experience. Like the whole time, I'm kind of, every time I'm at elevation above 10,000 feet, you kind of feel off a little bit. You just get used to it, I guess.
Yeah, I'm doing that run out in Europe. Well, maybe. Now I'm still going to start it. It's just going to be a little bump in the road here, but I'm going out there. So I just, I was almost stressing too much on it and focusing too much on the whole altitude thing. Yeah, it's something, but even my coach was just like, dude, you got to like chill out a little bit. It is what it is. Yeah, it's going to affect you, but it's going to be okay. You're just going to be slower. You know what I mean? And there's certain things that you can control and there's certain things that you can't control. And I basically focused on building that, how they kind of describe like VO2 max for me. I was like, hey man, you got to increase that cup, right? So I was doing a lot of like sprinting, a lot of interval workouts, lactic threshold and stuff like that, just to try to improve the fitness as much as possible to be able to process the lack of oxygen out there. And then I was told, man, you either have it or you don't, like with the adaptation. Like there's some adapters and there's like non-adapters. And I talked to a few people that have done it and have done altitude races, and they're like, just the main thing to remember is that you just got to get up. But like the second you start coming down, you start feeling better.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like a lot of it's mental.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some people who do better with altitude than not. Like I've ridden with some guys that we got around like 5,000 feet, 6,000 feet, and they started like getting like real bad headaches and almost like altitude sickness. Someone like that, they're going to struggle at like, because to me, I don't really like 6,000 feet's like barely for me. Like I'm just starting, like I notice it, but it's not like, holy shit, this is hard. Like once you get like 8, 9, that's when it really, you start to notice it. But I think there's like, you either adapt to it within, a couple weeks or whatnot, or there's some people who just like, it takes a long time. One strategy that I know people will use though is like, if they're coming from flatlands, they'll come out like as close to the event as possible, because then your body doesn't start to create more red blood cells and like basically doesn't realize it's at altitude yet. Personally for me though, I think that would be brutal, because like I'm not used to sitting. Like I am constantly moving and doing stuff. So like for me, like a travel day, I am wrecked from a travel day. So I couldn't imagine like flying out there, driving to wherever all in one day and then racing the next. I think that would be hard.
Yeah, I considered that, and I'm like, oh, but honestly, like URA was probably going to be a 40-hour event for me. So I didn't want to get caught like day 2 or close to day 3 by the time, because I'll get out there the day before, but that Saturday would be day 3, and I'm like, I'm already going to feel awful enough. I don't want to be having it hit me then, or like the start of the acute phase of it. So I'm going to go out like 11, 12 days and hopefully get some of it. But Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
that
see how it goes.
I think that'll definitely help. When I did Leadville, I went out like 5 days before the event, and it wasn't
Dude.
it wasn't enough. Like basically all I did is I got shitty sleep for 5 days, and then by the time the race rolled around, I was just like a little chronically fatigued. Like, okay, here we go.
That's awesome. The stuff we get ourselves into. One thing that I did want to talk to you about is like did you miss it? Like did you miss like when you got out of EMS and like the emergency services? Like do you miss it at all?
So, do I miss EMS? No, not at all. Um, I mean, I'm glad I did it, and I learned a lot, and I still actually have my paramedic in a non-active status. I think it's a valuable tool to have. But that job, especially like the EMS side of things, it just like chews people up and spits them out. It's just like not. It just like doesn't feel. It didn't feel sustainable for me personally. And even the fire side of things, like I enjoyed it when we would have a fire, but 95% of what we did was EMS. And just like the schedule was brutal. It was really, really hard for me, to train in the way I like to train. Law enforcement was the probably the wasn't probably law enforcement was the easiest to keep like training going and being consistent, while doing like a non-normal job.
It's absolutely crazy because people that haven't really worked in those environments have no clue. And I need to be careful what I say because I'm still pay my mortgage doing this stuff. But how truly like toxic of an environment it is, especially for your health. And I could just remember when I was doing my paramedic schooling, it was almost like it almost felt like a badge of honor to live a shitty lifestyle. Like they glamorize like, oh yeah, you're going to be living off of roller dogs and Mountain Dew and energy drinks and, you know, you night shift and staying up all night and just awfulness.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree 100%. It, like, oh, I worked 22 hours yesterday. Like that, like you just said, that badge of honor, like I'll sleep when I'm dead. And it just like, you look at the people who've done that career or those careers for 20, 30 years, and very few of them I like look at and are like, I want to look like you when I'm 50. Most of them you look at and you're like, Jesus Christ, like this is the last thing I want to look like. They've been divorced. They have substance abuse problems. They have mental health problems. Like their metabolic health is terrible. Relationships are terrible. Like everything. And I don't know what the reason is behind. I mean, there's a lot of reasons behind it. I think a lot of it is the trauma that you see. In doing these like self-sabotaging behaviors becomes the way of coping. But to be honest, I blame, and you'll probably have to tread carefully on this one, but I blame the organizations. So whether it's the police department, the fire department, the EMS service, I blame them, because I think there needs to be more protocol steps put into place to help these individuals doing those careers to be healthy. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, because I mean, like even if you look at a hospital, look at what food is available in in a hospital. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. And just yeah, I mean, the EMS, the scheduling, and most people. I mean, the pay. What can you do about the pay? Because most of the people I know that work in EMS are working 2, sometimes even 3 jobs. Yeah, I agree totally with you. And it's sad. It's sad to me because I care deeply and because it is like you do need those jobs, right? Somebody needs to be up all night because no matter how do I explain this? no matter what you could do for like the nation's health, even if everybody was eating organically and exercising, people are still going to get hurt and people are still going to get sick. Maybe not as much, but so you still need people to do these jobs. But it makes me so angry anymore. And quite frankly, it makes me kind of sick and sad when I look around, and I'm not trying to shit on anybody that I work with or have worked with, or that I my fellow peers, but it makes me kind of just sad and angry when I look around and they're just so freaking unhealthy.
Yeah.
And like, yeah. So like, just, I truly, and how do I kind of rambling on here, but like, I truly believe that if you can't take care of yourself, that you 100%, like to a full effect, you can't take care of somebody else, like 100%.
I agree.
And like, just like, yeah, you could go and you could tell, you could give people the medicine to fix them, like that, like whatever they're in there for. But like, how are you going to be able to tell somebody like, hey, eat better and take care of yourself so you're not here when you look like shit? Like, so, and that's part of healthcare.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. It's such a broken system. And I don't, unfortunately, it's such a big machine.
Ugh.
I don't really see much changing. I don't see much changing.
Yeah.
Do you?
So I've tried to like, well, how do you go about like trying to implement change without trying to be, because some people are so like, oh, well, you run 60 miles a week, that's absurd, and try to be a good role model and push living healthy and eating healthy. It's just, there's so much pushback against it. I don't get, I've tried to like do some things, and just the amount of resistance, I'm just like, how do you do this? It seems like such a daunting task. I don't get it.
It's ultimately, I think, a culture problem within, the emergency services. And I don't know if it's just like the type of person that it attracts that kind of creates that. But I completely agree. I mean, when I haven't really talked about this too much, but when I was at the fire department, I mean, like I would be ostracized for bringing my own food in and like eating healthy and working out. And I mean, to the point that like I was outcasted from my shift because I wouldn't do pizza Fridays. They would get like the greasiest pizza they could buy and then just like sit there and watch Friday, whatever sport was on that day. And I'm like, why? Like, I already know I'm going to feel like shit because we're not going to sleep tonight because we're going to run 6 calls. Like, I'm going to do everything I can to try to feel as good as I can. And as opposed to like respecting that, it was almost like that poppy syndrome for me, to where like anyone who does anything that would make those individuals like feel bad, like, oh man, I'm a piece of shit because I'm eating pizza and not working out or whatever, they would just like cut them down so bad. So that's where I go back to like, it's this culture problem, I think. Like, I think if you were part of an organization to where like the leaders and the influencers were health-minded and were out running ultras or doing these things like Andy Glaze or something, I think those environments would be a lot different than when you look at the leaders of other organizations and they're alcoholics or whatever problem they have, super unfit. Like that's what's being modeled.
Yeah, I tell you, and this is nothing against anybody's employers, but if I'm leading a department, I'm not bringing 24 donuts into the monthly meeting. I'm not doing that because you know what? I care about the people I work with. Why would I be freaking poisoning them? You know what I mean? Like I just, we just need to get away from that. It just drives me absolutely mad. And I feel like, not that this is about me at all, but like I lived that shitty lifestyle. I drank and I was overweight. And I try to tell people like, dude, I'm like, I did that. I tell you how bad I felt. Like, just my mental health was shit.
100%.
It's just like, dude, turn it around. Like, I don't have any real anxiety or depression anymore. I eat good, you know, and run and exercise, and it's crazy. And so I don't drink any alcohol anymore, and it's crazy how less anxious and depressed I am.
Yep. I mean, you look at, or I guess this is how I look at my body. I look at my body as like, I only have one body, right? It's not like you can't trade in your body for a new body in 4 years because you didn't take care of it. So you need to take care of that. But then also what you put into your body is fuel. It's what you get out mentally and physically. So if you want to be like cognitively the best you can be or physically the best you can be, you need to do the things to feel those ways. I think one of the big problems too, and you kind of talked about it with like the donut thing, our culture, like the American culture, is built around using food as this like therapy in like this feel good thing, right? So it's like, what happens when someone dies? When someone dies, people bring over a bunch of unhealthy shit to your house, right? Or when someone's stressed, what do? They eat ice cream or whatever. It's like, so we use food as a therapy coping mechanism as opposed to like acknowledging that we're doing that for starters, but then changing it and like going like, no, instead of eating this donut, like let's go run the stairs for 5 minutes, or whatever. Like, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but it's just, I think it's an American culture problem.
Yeah, totally agree. Because I was at the grocery market the other day, and I'm like, how maddening is this that we have an organic section? Like, and it's the smallest section of the store, but like in what other worlds out there do they have to label the food that ain't processed and sprayed with shit? It's wild to me. Crazy.
I agree. And you look at other countries too, in like a lot of the EU, the European Union, Russia even. Everyone says Russia's a terrible place, but I can tell you Russia has banned any food that's not organic. So all they have is organic. All of their meat is regeneratively grown. So that means grass-fed, pastured. That's just what it is. In the US, it's like you have to be like have your doctorate in fucking nutrition right. to be able to like diagnose like what. So what's in the, what is this? What this is just supposed to be chicken. Why are there so many things in this? You know? And you almost have to be like this conspiracy theorist in a way to be able to figure out what's healthy and what's not. And again, I think that's like an American, it comes down to like capitalism, which I'm all about capitalism and making money, but not at the cost of our population's health either. I don't think that's good. So it's weird, man.
It's almost like, oh God, it's like, I try to be like a positive, you know, hopeful person, but when you look at the whole thing, it's just like, man, it feels so daunting. But
yeah,
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
The do hard things hat.
Yeah.
So what's that? What's the do hard things all about? I've been kind of looking at it a little bit. I looked at the website a little bit ago this morning, and I love it.
So Do Hard Things started as a podcast. It was a podcast. It's still a podcast that I use to mainly interview cyclists who are using cycling as a way to change their life. And so it started as that. However, mental health is super important to me, especially men's mental health. I lost my dad when I was 4 years old to suicide. I lost one of my best friends from high school when I was 19 to suicide. Brian is his name. And just this year, towards the end of January 21st. Only reason I know that is because I have his obituary hanging up in my office. January 21st, I lost someone who was like a big brother to me. His name was Mike Stone King. We traveled all around the country racing BMX. And him and I, we still talked like 4 or 5 times throughout the year, but weren't real close. And he was really struggling with mental health, and he committed suicide as well. So I lost 3 really influential men in my life to suicide. And after losing Mike, I felt this burning like passion, this draw inside of me to like, how can I make a difference? Like I just like kept going back to this of like, how can I make a difference? What can I do? So I decided to start a nonprofit, which is called the Do Hard Things Project. And the nonprofit's mission is to elevate men's mental health through doing hard things. So what that looks like is, an example would be, we are going to have what's called camps. And at a camp, individuals would show up. The camp may be in Colorado. And what we're going to do is hike. So everyone turns in their cell phone when we get there. Everything's taken care of, food, lodging, everything. And each day we go out and we would do a challenging hike, building up to this like monumental hike, right? Which would probably could be a 14er, could be a technical 13 or whatever. And by putting these individuals taking part in the camp into these adverse, hard situations in a group environment, it's going to help to build community. And I think one of the biggest problems with men as we get older is that we lose that community that we used to have. So like when you were in high school or college, you had a lot of friends, and the older you get, you lose those friends. And not only do you lose those friends, but most men 30 and up start to kind of lose the things that they were passionate about, because career gets in the way, family, kids, all of the things that, society tells us we need to focus on, which all of those are good things. But at a certain point, we get to the point that we're like, who am I? What do I have for me? How do I fill up my cup? And we don't have any of that. And all you do is shit for your kids and your friends are your kids' friends, and you don't actually have anything in common with them. And when someone asks you, what do you do for fun? Your response is, well, I used to X. So you do nothing for fun. So this is geared towards getting those people back to finding passion in their life and doing something physically challenging to help to build that mental health. So what I want to accomplish out of these camps is build relationships with the fellow participants, but then B, challenge the individuals, because I want it to be hard, to where they leave there and they want more. They want to do more. They want to change their life and live this life like you and I live, like doing these harder things, and just inspiring them to take advantage of what they have and put their mental health first.
That's awesome. And the thing that really kind of struck me there with what you said is, with men and not doing shit for themselves because of the kids. Because I have 3 young kids that are busier than all hell, with sports and school activities and whatnot. And I get people saying to me, like, I've been told that ultra running is a selfish activity. And to some degree, you could argue that, right? But what I found and what I noticed with my children is that my running has impacted them tremendously, because they see that dad has purpose and that dad works hard and that dad sets huge goals and believes in himself and can achieve that, right? And so just by saying that, that just really connects with me. I think that's super important for men to do, to show their kids that they have purpose and they work hard and that they still dream, right?
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like when you get on an airplane, what do they tell you about the oxygen mask? They tell you to put your oxygen mask on first, right? So I feel like life's the same way. If you want to be a good dad, husband, employee, whatever, you have to take care of yourself first. Like people say, "Oh, you need to be selfless." I think in order to be selfless, you need to be selfish. Because if your needs aren't met physically and mentally, then how can you be the best possible dad, husband, coworker, whatever? You can't be. You're not going to be. And I agree 100% with you mentioning your kids. Your kids are watching. All kids are very observant. So if you're the type of guy who gets off work and comes home and plays video games or sits on your ass and drinks a beer, kids see that. Or if you're the type of guy who gets off work, throws on his running shoes or hops on his bike or whatever, goes to the gym, whatever, and is structured and works hard and has goals, kids see that. And I think that is going to impress upon them at a very young age. And they'll start to, if you're into running, they'll start to be interested in running and like want to be like dad. So I think by putting yourself first like that, you're actually being a great role model for your children.
%. And we need, like, as men, I don't know, just the way everything is anymore. It's just everything. And I know this gets spewed everywhere on social media, but I can't stress it enough with everything's so easy now. And there's so much comfort in that. I just really feel, and I lived like that for a long time, but we need struggle.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need to do hard shit.
Yeah. No, we're, as men, as humans, men and women, we evolved to solve problems. Like up until basically the last 100 years, our lives revolved around solving problems. That was our existence, right? Like, how are you going to find shelter, water, food, and provide for your family? That's like what we evolved doing. And modern technology is amazing in a lot of ways, right? Like it allows you and I to have this podcast. That's awesome. That's super cool. However, if we don't step out of our comfort zone of our air-conditioned house, climate-controlled car, climate-controlled office, food delivered to our door, lifestyle, I truly believe it creates mental health problems eventually. And I think that's what we're seeing as a country as a whole too, is our lives have become so easy that there is no suffering. And I think it's like Viktor Frankl's book, but he talks about basically the meaning to life is suffering. And when you think about it, it's true. When you feel the most fulfilled, when you're problem solving, figuring out something hard, you accomplish something hard, you got through it, that creates so much satisfaction and fulfillment. Not the things, like you don't remember the things that were super easy. You remember the things that were like really hard, but you got through it and you did it.
The things that I am, when I look back at my life, the happiest moments of my life and proudest moments of my life, other than my children being born, is when I finished like my hundreds. And I look back at those instances and I correlate, I kind of compare it to like, I don't know, just doing that makes me believe that you can get through anything. You like literally, like I wanted to quit so bad at my last one, mile 60, 65. And the beauty about like doing the biking in running hundreds and whatever is just that mental part is as long as you just put one foot in front of the other and go, you could do anything and you can get through anything. And it just doesn't pertain to like running 100 milers or biking up Leadville or whatnot. It's literally any situation in life.
Yeah,
that's kind of what draws me to it. Is I don't know. I'm a very like, yeah, kind of like with mental health and stuff like that. It's just like I just kind of relate it to anything. Like, oh, you had this loss or you lost your like. Okay, so I get fired from my job. What am I gonna do? I can't. You know what I mean? Like, am I going to sit there and sulk about it? Am I going to be poor me? Or am I going to go out there and try to get another job or try to make money like another way? Or like, like I lost a parent. I haven't lost a parent yet, thank the Lord. But like that day is going to come, right? And unfortunately, and what am I going to do when that day comes? Am I just going to sit and be stagnant? Or am I going to be like, okay, this sucks, but I just got to put one foot in front of the other. Like literally everything in life you could think of is like an endurance event.
it is. Yep. No, I agree. And I think an endurance event is a good analogy for life. You start out and the event starts and you're all happy and feel good and you're excited and, oh, this is fun.
I love
it. And then at a certain point, if the event's long enough, not all events are long enough, but at a certain point, if the event's long enough, you're like, man, this is fucking hard. This sucks. This hurts. This isn't fun anymore. Okay, I'm ready to be done. I could just quit and come up with an excuse. My ankle's kind of sore. I could just say I had an injury. No one will think twice. You start, all of those thoughts start coming through your head, and you're just like, fuck, and you just keep moving though. You just keep moving. And then you get through that. And maybe, depending on how long the event is, you could go through that roller coaster 10 times, right? But eventually you get to the end, and at the end, you're always going to be at the top again because you're finishing it. So I think that's what's so special about an endurance events, whether it's running or cycling or triathlon or anything. That I think endurance events are super special. And I wish as a society, everyone had to pick one Misogi-like event a year to do.
100%.
It's just,
yeah, I love it.
Huge.
I've met the most interesting, like I met the most special human beings through these events too. And like the way I describe people that do these events, like I've never met, like, other than myself, a shithead out doing one of these events. Like most people out there, a lot of recovering addicts and alcoholics, myself included. I used to drink way too much. A lot of like really successful people, like a lot of engineers, physicians, just a lot of people a lot of interesting, smart human beings.
Yep. And I think it's cool because endurance events bring community together. So like you could have this high achieving doctor and you could have a recovering addict, and they share this commonality. And it's cool to see people who maybe have different beliefs on a lot of different things, like politically or ideology, however, nutrition, whatever it is, but they share the commonality of doing this endurance event together and can have conversations.
Yeah, because that shit's all out the window out in the trail at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
No, and I've never been in an endurance event to where someone finds out that you're conservative and they're liberal or whatever, and then they're like just done talking to you. Like no one gives a shit, man. Like just like we're all out here doing something hard, and if that's how you feel, that's cool. Like no one cares. And I think that's also what makes them special, is it creates these bonds that you don't have a normal everyday life.
100%. And then when you just look around, because this stuff gets you in just the most beautiful, unreal places that, I mean, it's just the privilege that you get, that you have to go do this stuff too. Because there are some people out there that, like born with disabilities or whatever. And like, it's almost insulting that if you are capable and you're not doing this stuff, you're almost insulting people like that. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm big on mantras, like when I'm racing or just, doing something really hard. And like one of my mantras that I like is "you get to do this."
100%.
Like being able to move your body, like you mentioned, could have a disability. So super thankful for that. Have the opportunity to go do these events, have the opportunity to train in the way we do, have the opportunity to financially afford to do these events, right? Like there's a lot of people who they're not able to afford to do an event like this, or like they're just like working 4 jobs, just trying to like struggle to get by. In the thought of like going and doing this hard endurance event, like, bro, they're living that hard endurance event.
Right. Yeah, no shit.
So just like, I think it also helps to create like this gratitude as well, like the gratitude for suffering. Like suffering shouldn't be taken for granted. It's something that we should be thankful for. And I think that helps in the moment too, when you are suffering hard, that if you can be grateful for it, it almost like flips the switch on that suffering. It's like the adage, like Amy Glaze always says, like when you're hurting, if you smile, it makes it not hurt as bad. And it's true, right? Like you can't, like in the moment, it's obviously easier to be like pissed off and cussing, but like if you smile when you're suffering, you instantly start to not suffer as much.
Yeah, my new thing is laughing. I just go, this is such a dumb thing I put myself here and I paid to do this. And it's like, it's funny. It's funny to me. Like when you're at mile 60 and like, who does this stuff? Like, well, under like a 0.01% of the people, but like, it's a comical situation to be in, like, to me anyways. And then I find that kind of might buy me another mile.
Yeah.
But I got a saying to make 1% louder than the 99%. Because like when that creeps up to you, you got to make that not quit way louder. And usually by the time, like after a half hour, you pop out of it, and then you're just like, oh, this ain't that bad again. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think too, like if you're starting to like really suffer, like I go through this like engine checklist of like, why am I suffering? Like, am I fueling enough? Like I probably need to pop a gel. Like I probably need to eat a gel if I'm really starting to fall apart. I probably need to drink some more. Maybe I need to eat another gel. Maybe I got way behind. And then you almost like reassess, like, okay, I still feel like shit. Okay, maybe I need to drink a little bit more water. Maybe I just need to just like continue to work and get through this. But most of the time, if you eat or drink, okay, I'm feeling a little bit better.
Yep, 100%.
So I think like looking at the emotions that you feel during these events and knowing that they're just emotions, and being able to like almost like objectively look at the scenario you're in and go, oh, well, you need to eat more, or you need to drink more, or whatever it may be, as opposed to just like making those emotions your reality, I guess.
Yeah. So other than your camps, is there any other events, or is there any other ways to get involved with your project there?
Yeah. So in 2026, the goal is to raise funds to be able to do these camps. Basically we want to make the camps will cost for individuals to do them. However, to bring in the staffing and whatnot to be able to do the camps costs money as well. So trying to raise money for that. But that basically the camps will be the big thing. And I'd like to do like 4 camps throughout the year. And with each camp, I kind of didn't touch on this, but if it's a hiking camp, hiking gear camp, there would be a 12-week program leading up to that every participant would be given when they signed up, which would give them the opportunity to show up prepared. And there would be weekly accountability calls to kind of start to build this community before we even get there. But obviously all of that kind of takes funds. So what I'm trying to do this year is come up with different ways to raise funds for it. One of the main ideas I have is through these hard things that we're doing. So like for me, if I have a race that I'm going to do in August, it's a 300-mile race. And for every mile I ride, I'm going to try to get people to donate $1. So pledge $300, how many ever people you get, okay, that's going to make some substantial change. So if anyone's interested in like being a part of the project, supporting the project, the biggest way to support it now is like if you are signed up for one of these crazy events that we've been talking about, an endurance event, and you want to try to get people to pledge, $1 or whatever, for every mile you run or ride or whatever towards our nonprofit, that would be huge because it's self-funded. We don't have grants. I'm not a trust fund kid. I don't have much money. So it's just trying to raise the funds. So yeah, if people just want to donate to the cause as well, if they go to our website, the it's dohardthingsproject.org, there's a donation option on there as well.
Sweet. I'll chat with you when we get off this about maybe doing something at URA for like a donation or a pledge or whatever. So, because it's definitely like, I think what you're doing is phenomenal, needed, and is going to be super impactful. And, just I've dealt with mental health struggles and, I've lost a really good friend of mine too to suicide, and I just think it's really, 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 really needed, especially in today's day and age. So you're doing awesome work and super excited to see where you're going to take that and just the lives that you're going to impact. So
I appreciate that. I think as men, one of the biggest problems that we're kind of told, especially in like emergency services, is like you need to be strong and internalize things and you shouldn't show emotion. And there's a big problem with that because if someone is truly struggling mentally, but society tells them that it's not okay to say like, Brad, dude, I'm fucking struggling. Like I am hurting bad inside. Like if it's not okay to say that, then you internalize that and you hold that. And that perception of what you're going through starts to become your reality. And you start to think, oh, the world would be better off without me. And next thing you know, now thoughts of suicide are coming in and you're planning it out. And next thing you know, someone takes their life and they're like, oh, I never saw it coming. It's like, well, yeah, you didn't see it coming because the guy was never given an opportunity to say he was struggling. The commonality, the common theme that I've seen across the people that I've seen who've committed suicide is A, they were strong men and they didn't want to admit that they were struggling. And B, they all felt isolated. So my goal with the nonprofit is to break down both of those, to break down the stigma that it is okay to say that you're struggling if you're struggling to someone. Because a lot of times just saying that you're struggling is enough to turn that ship around to help to get you through it. And just voicing it, right? It gets it off your chest. Yep. Just voicing it.
I found that because I'll be the first to admit like this is years ago, but yeah, I was down in a pit. And it wasn't until I said it, to myself anyways, that I'm like, well, I need to do something different. Or you know what I mean? Like, I don't have good friends. I am isolated, like you said. I was, alone. And you do as a man, you don't feel like you could really talk about it. And yeah, I totally agree with you on all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just think just by even saying it's okay to say something, it'll just get people thinking. So even if that just makes a difference, right? But then doing these hard challenges will flip a switch as well, and building this community. So I think it's like a natural way of almost therapy for men in a way. Nothing against if going to therapy works for someone, that's awesome. But for me, riding my bike is my therapy. It's extremely rhythmic. Running's probably the same way. It's very rhythmic. It allows you to process emotions and feelings, and it's almost spiritual in a way. I don't ride because of the physical benefits. I ride purely because of the mental benefits. If I only wanted to focus on the physical benefits, I would just go to the gym. But that's not what I'm there for. So I think that's also going to be huge with what we're doing with the nonprofit as well.
Sweet, man. Well, I can't wait to see where you take it. So, and I'm all on board. I'm going to help however I can, and look forward to, hopefully maybe going on one of them adventures someday. But thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, let's make it a reality. I appreciate you having me on and getting to chat and share my story.
Well, that's a wrap on today's show, and I just want to thank Luke tremendously for coming on and chatting here. And please go give his page a follow, the Do Hard Things Project, and also you can find that on his website, dohardthingsproject.org. Go out, support that cause. It is super awesome, and it's going to help a lot of dudes out there. And hey, go run the 200 miles that they're putting on as well. It's called the Bear something. It's 200 miles there in Iowa, right around Maquoketa. It's going to be tons of fun. It's in the middle of November. I'm sure the weather will be phenomenal for that run. You might even catch me there running. Anyways, hey, thanks for supporting the show, and be sure to be subscribing to the podcast here on Spotify or Apple, and give us a follow on the Instagram. And again, thank you for all your support. Love you all. Be safe. Go rip some miles.